Retired Army Paratrooper Corporal Dennis Ashby joins us today. Ashby was assigned to the Airborne Infantry and served the United States from 2004 to 2008. While serving his country in Iraq for 5 months, Ashby was cowardly ambushed by an IED, which exploded only a few feet away. Ashby was wounded by shrapnel from his knees up to his head. He has endured over 40 surgeries and is awaiting more. Ashby was on 10 prescribed medicines per day to deal with these ailments, and they are ranging from PTSD all the way to nerve pain. Ashby is now on 0 prescribed medicines, thanks to cannabis. That sounds great. Welcome, Dennis. How are you?
I'm breathing, so I can't complain.
That is always a good thing.
I like your outlook, absolutely.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show and telling us about your journey with cannabis. Let's talk about whenever you kind of first started here. Let's talk about your ailments. First of all, thank you very much for serving our country.
I echo that. Thank you so much.
We owe our lives and much more to you and people like you. Thank you very much.
Not a problem.
So let's go back to Iraq. Where were you at? Where were you stationed there?
Jerfa Sucker is 40 miles southwest of Baghdad.
Okay. And you were in Airborne Infantry, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so while you were there, you were, was this a normal situation for you? Were you just on a special operation, or were you deployed in the area? Tell us about that.
We had a patrol base in the area. We held it with 30 men, usually just a platoon, and it was a combat zone. It was high stakes, tense all the time. I lost several friends and several got injured and everything. A lot of them made it home though, thank God. I don't know how else to go into that one. It was very stressful. We've seen a lot. We've done a lot each day. I mean, besides combat, just being overseas, some of the things, trying to deal with the different culture and respect and the fear and everything of every day. It was quite stressful.
Right.
And it still to this day carry a lot of that around. The area wasn't too keen on Americans.
Right.
Yeah, I can only imagine, the kind of welcome mat that is laid out, so like you said, it's more of a culture shock. And I'm sure that, dealing with the PTSD and things like that. So, I mean, it didn't really just come from a physical aspect. It was, it was kind of a whole health issue that kind of, arose, if I'm hearing you correctly.
Oh, definitely. Because, just on the day-to-day, the same guy that could be shaking your hand in the morning saying, Mister, we love you, we love America. And the end of the evening after a firefight, you'd find him dead as one of the ones trying to get you, So, like the stressful soldier that every day is pretty tough.
Yeah, constantly living in that situation of there's no downtime. There right. Doesn't seem like there would be. Anyway, sure. Yeah, so that's got to do a lot to the head and to the soul. That's for sure. Now, so while you were there, you were physically injured. Tell us about that day.
Oh, I was dismounted. I was on foot. An IED exploded approximately 6 feet behind me. The right side of my body and the back took the brunt of it. Had a couple buddies got injured more severely than I did. A buddy lost his life saving me. Another one lost his leg. And I'm top of getting blown up. I didn't share this with you yet. After I got the blast went off, my buddies tried to pull me out and help me out, and down power line hit me. I was getting electrocuted too. And doctors told me, though, that's probably what saved my life, was getting electrocuted, because I lost a lot of blood.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
Yeah.
So from that point, you were obviously brought to the back to the United States.
Well, not quite. I went from there to, I don't remember leaving really. I woke up in Longstuhl, Germany in the hospital there, and then was brought back to the States.
Okay. And so as far as that, I mean, initially, I mean, how many surgeries did it take to kind of start this whole process of getting you back to health? And, about how long was it before you actually went home?
Oh, shoot. Between the first 3 months, I couldn't do anything really but lay around. I'm a combat soldier. I didn't do very good when I first woke up. They wanted me to stay in the hospital, but the moment the plane hit my duty station, I was in Fort Rich. I told them, I was like, y'all ain't keep me in this hospital, and I was full of holes, and somehow managed to stand up and threaten them. And they told me, all right, well, we're gonna get you all your meds and machines and all that. We'll get you to your house. And because mentally, I couldn't even stay in the hospital. I had lost my mind where I wanted to go hide in a hole.
Yeah.
As when I got injured, like I said, I remembered the blast kind of. I didn't remember a whole lot after. I remember getting electrocuted, because every time I get electrocuted, it would bring me to. My eyes would open, and I remember all that. And then I blacked out again right when they got me off the chopper into the med facility. And when I came to, the psychiatrist and everything, they always explained it as combat mind. Is the last thing I remembered when I was conscious was fighting for my life. And then I woke up in a little white, quiet room in a hospital, no sound, no nothing. And I snapped, and I lost it because when I came to, I remember my buddies all being there. I remembered that. Well, I was out so long, I don't remember how long. I had brain damage from it. But when I came to, it was long enough that the Army Times had already released a story in the next paper, and on the front page it learned my buddy was dead and all that. And that really messed with my head. So my PTSD, it took a hard turn when I came to finding out all that stuff. And then,
yeah, you woke up in a completely different world.
Yes.
And having to process loss and your own injuries and things like, the mental exhaustion, I can't imagine, because
no way.
Like you said,
imagine it.
You went from a high stress environment, while, serving, right into waking up with complete, shrapnel from head to toe, from knees to toe, or knees to skull, and learning about buddies being gone and things like that, and being in a whole different country. I can't even wrap my head around it. So, like I said, it's insane to me, because the mental trauma seems to be just as bad as the physical.
I would say the mental was harder for me to deal with than the physical, because the surgeries, you brought that up, I've never stopped having surgeries. I still, to this day, I got injured in 2006, and I'm still having surgeries to this day. I've never stopped. It seems like there's at least 3 or 4 a year. And some of them not so serious. Just a few years ago, I almost died. I found out I had an aneurysm in my hip and femoral artery where shrapnel hit it, and almost died before I even found out I had it.
Wow.
The surgeries have never stopped. So when it comes to the medications, like we were talking about, they've had me on so many for so many years. When I finally got off of them, I literally carried a grocery bag in with nothing but pill bottles in it and set it on the nurse's desk. It was like, I'm done.
Really? Did they expect you to do that?
No, they weren't very happy about that.
I can imagine.
When it comes to doctors, no one ever seems to want you off meds. They think pills are the answer to everything, but I can speak as someone that's been on all those pills for years, that every pill has a side effect. They all make you feel groggy or withdrawals or crappy when you don't want to take them, and I don't like it. I never preferred it. Especially the pain pills and any narcotics, the days you actually don't feel too bad, you're like, oh, I don't need none of that stuff. Well, you start feeling nauseated, you're sweating, you're getting cold chills, and I don't miss any of that.
It becomes one of those choices that you don't really make a decision on at a certain point.
Yeah, you more have to take it. You don't even want to nor need it, but your body's telling you have to, and that's a hard thing to kick, even whether you want to or not. There are people out there, and I've met plenty of them, that are not an addictive person at all, get hurt, and then the pills, they can't get off them. Right. And it is a struggle, and I wish the government would, step back a little bit on saying, that's okay, but the cannabis is not. And one day, hopefully.
So from 2000, so how long were you on, pharmaceuticals in that particular treatment?
I'd say till about 2 years ago.
Okay.
So from 2006 till 2018.
And if you don't mind to kind of let us know, I guess just let us in on a little backstory as far as your journey with cannabis.
Yeah.
How did this come up?
When did you smoke your first?
Well, it started when I first got out and came back to the lower 48. I had been going to the doctor, like we talked about, and I just constant meds, pills, and I was getting nauseous all the time. Well, I started talking to people, and they recommended marijuana. It wasn't legal anywhere at that time yet. And so I was real cautious. I was real nervous, especially as I've got kids and all that. And I tried it, and it definitely helped, especially with the nausea and some other things. And it got legalized in Colorado. So I went ahead and moved to Colorado, so I didn't have to worry about the legal part, and got it legally. And up there, when I first started, it helped me. I wouldn't say it's a fast process to get off of meds and turn to a cannabis, because one, a lot of people, when they take, especially a narcotic, they're used to that buzz, or their whole body feels completely different. Where cannabis, it's not a narcotic. You're going to get the head change, you're going to get the high feeling, but It's not going to be as intense. And a lot of people have a hard time going with that. Well, I didn't. I didn't like all the side effects of the pills. So when I got up there and I started smoking, and I did the straight medical, I didn't walk in there just like, oh, I want that one. I talked to everybody. I asked questions. I was like, I need this for pain.
It's important.
I've got nerve damage and high PTSD with my anxiety. Like I'm starting to shake just my voice right now. I talked to them. They got me straightened out on a lot of what strains and other things can help, and especially edibles for people who don't want to smoke or any of that. They really help me, and they really help with the nauseous feeling from the pills too for me.
Sure.
Yeah. And so whenever you first started using it, you were using it to battle the side effects of the medicine, essentially?
Yeah, because mainly at first, because I was on so many meds that, you take that many pills, it's hard on your stomach.
Yeah.
And like everything I took was prescribed, nothing abused at all. And the amount of pills they had me taking, I was constantly nauseous. And that was the main reason at first I tried.
Right.
And it really helped the nausea. And the longer I used it, and the longer I got more into it, learning about it through the medical side, that there were strains that helped everything. That you could use vape, wax, edibles. I mean, there's so many different ways, and each one has its own benefit. And when it finally started getting smarter on the medical side and listening to more, it really can help with nerve pain, headaches, my dizziness. There's some strains that for my TBI that it really does help me where I don't get dizzy so much.
Absolutely.
So if you look into it, it all helps. It really helped me.
Well, and two, when you're talking about, you mentioned the different ingestion methods, and that's something that we've talked about before. I mean, I'm a huge believer in layering, because different methods have different purposes and benefits. And I mean, I love the fact that you went into it from that educational standpoint. I mean, I know that it was more, you had to. You were trying to save yourself. But were there any particular, kind of in that early in that journey, were there any particular things like certain terpenes that you found out that helped, like with addiction and things like that? I've always found that like caryophyllene really helps with those things.
What really more helped me with it was the strength levels when it comes to addiction, because the addiction part, at least for me and the people I mainly spoke with, it's not so much the high you get from it as what you're expecting to feel, like on a mental level. Mm-hmm. So going from a narcotic where you could take it and you get that euphoric kind of feeling where you took something strong and like that. Well, to me, it was find something to match that. And, each person's kind of different. I've got buddies that edibles was what matched it for me. For them. Well, what got it for me was the vaping, the little higher THC level, the stronger high. Mm-hmm. and it helped with the mental side of it. And that's another thing too that a lot of people don't discuss. You got to want to. You have to want to.
Yeah, there's got to be some form of dedication
and belief
of yourself.
Sure.
To be able to do it. It's just like a diet. It's just like anything else. If you want to better yourself, you actually have to have some sort of dedication. There is no magic thing that makes you.
Well, I always liken it to a relationship. You have to meet you have to meet it halfway, and sometimes even further.
Sure. But you have to put effort into it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because the biggest part for almost everybody is it's so easy just to fall back into go to the doctor and get some pills because they are stronger. And the cannabis, there are days, I've got rods and plates and screws and everything in my neck and spine and all this, and there are days that even the cannabis on its strongest levels, they help, but it's not quite perfect. Well,
sure.
That's the thing you got to tell yourself is I'm never going to get perfect. I don't need to go take something stronger where I'm drooling or passing out. As long as I can get by, that's all I need.
Right.
That sounds perfect to me.
Well, and I think you make Dennis, I think you make another good point too, is, the other thing that makes it easier to go back is because, sometimes you have someone in a white coat that sends you to Walgreens and you can get this and they want you to go get it.
Oh, and that's the biggest thing. They want you to go. I've had so many doctors when I tell them that I'm happy with the cannabis and stuff like that they're like, oh, no.
We have an issue here.
Do that,
right.
Wait, I don't understand that. You must do this. I understand this because the salesperson told me how to understand it.
Right. Society thing right there.
Sorry.
Not,
No, I'm not.
If pot had been legal first instead of meds, we'd be having the opposite conversation, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and and so outside of the methods of ingestion, were there any other things that really helped you? Were there any particular cannabinoids that you ran into? Anything like that that you could kind of share with anyone? Or do you have a particular regimen that you kind of follow daily?
Yeah, what I usually do in the mornings is I stick to like a hybrid type. Is that with the PTSD, I can't do a sativa,
sure.
Strong sativa. It'll get me sweating and jittery, and I get real anxious. But indicas help real good with my pain and keep me calm at the same time. And of course, like anybody, not every strain or anything's the same. Each person I've learned is, a lot of strains they can say this will do this for you, and on a general level it will work. But everybody's going to have to search and find what is right for them, what strains. But
right.
In the mornings, I got rambling on there. Hybrids are always great for me because it doesn't give me the couch lock with the day to go and things to run around and take care of.
Sure.
In the evening time when, you have been doing stuff and running around, your pain levels are high, you're probably emotionally worked up like I get by the end of the day. I go to a vape or a wax when I'm real, like, a lot of pain or real stressed out, and that will help mellow me, calm me. I can sit down and I'm not hurting real bad. I can socialize with the family or friends, and
sure.
I can tell you 100% without cannabis, I can't socialize. I am a loner, and it's just from the side effects of the PTSD and anxiety and trying to be around people. And
right.
I'm glad that you found something, though, to help you with that, because there are so many people out there that kind of give up or they'll go to the traditional medicine. And you having that, that mindset of, no, I am going to do this. I am going to accomplish this. No, I am going to walk. No, I don't care if I have shrapnel all in my body. You're letting me out of this hospital. That mindset that you have allowed you to find this, and that is awesome. I'm very happy for you.
And I appreciate that. It ain't been an easy journey. I'll admit I've had a few buddies that I served with have committed suicide since we've been back. Between the pain and the PTSD and the lost buddies and everything, like it is extremely hard to handle. And I thank the Lord for cannabis. I ain't gonna lie, because without it, I don't know how I'd get through the day. I've had my old lady when I haven't had any before, and my anxiety and PTSD is up, run and get me something and come back and like, here, smoke.
Yeah.
Right.
So
well, and as much as I hate to say it, but it's something, especially in your, with your story, that has to be said, that you have to look at your treatment as long-term, whether it come from a doctor or whether it come from a dispo or something like that. And I mean, this is something that you'll deal with forever. So do you want to add to PTSD side effects? I completely see where you're coming. You know, when you run out of those options and you're like, well, if this is forever for me, then I'm going to make it as comfortable for me as possible and effective. And to me, I echo what James said is I love that you found that for yourself.
Yeah, I'm glad you noticed, because that is exactly why I got off all the meds and everything. Because it hit me one day when I was on Percocet 10s, and I went into the doctor and I told him, I said, "Bud, they're just not helping anymore." And he told me, he looked me right in the eyes. He said, "Yeah, you're so messed up." He said, "But you're so young. If we go any higher, by the time you're 40 or 50, no meds are going to work for you anymore. You're just going to hurt all the time." When I left the doctor office that day, I was like, I have to find something better. I can't be strung out my whole life getting on stronger and stronger and stronger pills. There's got to be something. And that's where cannabis really came into my life.
Right. Well, and you know, again, I wish it had been, you know, like you had mentioned earlier, I just wish it were one of those first options.
Yeah.
Especially with the long-term care.
I'm glad that nowadays, though, it's coming around more, where I've heard of more doctors recommending it and stuff. And I wish on a federal level, or more of a, I guess, medical level instead of government, they would recommend it more and be more open to it. Because, you know, a while back I had surgery and they wanted me to go to a pain clinic because they put rods and everything in my neck. And the pain clinic told me I couldn't go in there because I had my medical card. So
that's ridiculous.
I did not give up my medical card. I turned down the pain clinic and get my medical card. So
what's the oath?
Right.
My Lord.
Well, again, because Dennis, because you're a survivor and you're a fighter, I mean, like James said, you found that. But I mean, for you to go through what you went through to serve your country, you know, lose your buddies and things like that, that's what breaks my heart more than anything, is having those doors shut when you get back.
Hold on a second. I want to ask somebody. I want to ask you this. I want to ask anybody, any listener out there, just take a second. Take a freaking second and listen and think about this for a minute. Right. Okay? A doctor, a hospital. If there's a drug addict, if there's somebody that's injured, if there's somebody that's been shot or their arm is broken or something like that, and they are on drugs, are you going to help them?
Right.
Yeah, you're going to help them. But because somebody has a legal card in their pocket,
right,
you're not going to help them because it has cannabis.
Right.
This pisses me off so much.
Right.
You see it in my face right now, Josh. I'm so mad. This stuff right here pisses me off, and it's one of the reasons why I do what I do and why I wake up every day and I think about people, patients, and people that need this. The medical community needs to accept this.
Right.
Or because this is not going away. This needs to be accepted. I don't care if the government accepts it or not. This needs to be accepted by the medical community, and those people need to educate themselves in this process if they want to help people.
Sure.
Period.
Well, and Dennis mentioned that too, and I mean, I think that you guys both make a great point on that, is I could care less federally what's happening with it. I want it to be accepted by the medical community.
Me too.
You know what I mean? I'm over waiting for that day to happen, and I know that it's somewhere in the future because, like you said, James, it's not going anywhere. We've proven that.
Yeah.
We're not going anywhere. People like Dennis and ourselves, we're here for the good fight, but I agree with you guys, and I love that you made that point that medically, that's where I want people to start opening their eyes, because, like James said, if you do take that Hippocratic Oath, you're there to help me in whatever I choose to medicate with. And Dennis, you have chosen, and you've been on both sides. You've seen what both sides do, and you've made your choice for your body.
Yes, because for the long run, like I said just a second ago, for the long run, the medications aren't the answer. You look at any old person that's been on their meds forever, they'll tell you that just after a while, they don't seem to do anything. And the cannabis, if you can get anybody off addicted things, you can make them actually feel more comfortable in their home when they're not passing out or drooling or strung out on something.
Absolutely.
I don't understand the problem with it.
It's
non-addictive. You're not hurting anyone. There's so many things that and the pills, how they throw them at you. Because that was my biggest thing. For a long time, I didn't even have to go to the doctor. They mailed me 180 Percocets or whatever I was on, and they'd just come to my mailbox. I didn't even have to go nowhere.
They shot down. They shot down delivery for cannabis for paraplegics in Oklahoma, though.
Yeah, I know. Like me, I'm starting to get where they don't want me driving and stuff because my brain damage. I've been getting dizzy, and I forget sometimes what I'm doing, and my brain stops side. So, I would love for someone else to be able to bring it to me or something like that. And I'm telling you, I think what it is everybody in society's got the wrong idea, because anytime I tell them I got my card, everyone looks at me like I'm just some crazy random stoner that wants to get high.
Right.
I just don't think enough people understand how much the medical side does help a lot of people.
No, and that's why we want to talk to people like you, and hopefully they'll listen to people like you.
Well, and because you weren't sitting around one day and 788 got passed and you just decided to go and get high.
Yeah.
You got shrapnel from your knees to your skull serving this country, came back and were turned into an addict and had to find a choice that worked for you on your own.
Yeah.
That was not the journey you wanted to take.
And then told to be, why don't you go ahead and go along with the society that we've all made of ourselves and say that it's okay, you're just getting older. Just put these meds in you. It's okay. Just keep taking more medicine. You feel bad because you're getting older. It's normal.
Right.
That's our normal society. That's what our older people are doing. They're saying, oh, my back hurts. Oh, I'm waking up. I realize that we're talking about someone that has been blown up with an IED.
Right.
But this is ridiculous. We're in a society where we're just like this. This is flip flopped, man. This is insane.
Yeah, like I said, it's very counterintuitive to, like Dennis was saying, that if I know I'm going to have to be on something and I see, for a long period of time and I see this list of side effects and I don't see it on this side, and I've got one thing that comes out of the earth and one thing that comes out of a lab, to me it doesn't make sense to even really consider the other option. So I agree with you. It's almost like we've been just programmed to kind of, like I said, that white coat faith. And I know we talk about it on here a lot, but it's because it's a real thing. And if the guy in the white coat tells us that that's what we need, kind of even to our demise, we'll listen to him. Yeah. And I'm kind of I love hearing your story, Dennis, but I'm getting tired of hearing these stories.
Yeah,
and that's why I think
the stories need to be heard. Yeah, that's for sure.
Sure.
Whenever we started getting into this industry and everything, and started hearing stories from people like you, Dennis, it changed us, and we're able to see the light.
Right.
And it's people like you that, not only did you fight for our country physically and almost die, you lived for a reason. Okay? And I don't know if you've done anything special yet, or if that special thing has been happened yet. But if you are talking to somebody right now, I hope that you are. I hope that somebody listens to you. I hope that somebody has a need, and they are finding it right now from you.
Right.
Because you're in a spot where you can do something very special. And so
I hope I can help somebody, definitely, because you said a while ago, the lab coats, it kind of leads to our demise, and because of me when I first got back and constantly being on strong painkillers and eating stronger and stronger, it led to me for a couple of years in a drug addiction. And I went from, like I said, I talked to the doctors. They didn't want to up me. They knew I needed it, but they didn't want to up me because of the long run. So I tried to find my own thing, and it went down a bad road, and it was all because of meds. I wasn't out trying to find something. I wasn't out just trying to cause trouble or get messed up. I was literally trying to help my pain, and thank God for cannabis, because when it got legal in Colorado, that's when I was able to go up there and do the medical. And like I said, I got rid of my medications. There was no more drinking, no more drugs. It helped every side get away from meds and medications and what the doctors led me to.
Well, and I'm glad you brought that back up, because that's something I meant to bring up earlier. You physically uprooted your life and went to a different state where this was legal. I mean, and that's another thing when people talk about this stigma and people say, well, Dennis has got his card and he's just wanting to get high. Nobody moves to Colorado to get high. Just so we're clear, people pull up roots and leave because their life is in shambles.
Yes.
Like this guy, I mean, I promise you. I mean, as someone who went to college before 788, I didn't contemplate moving somewhere to go get high.
You're not a super stoner?
Not ever once.
No. Super stoner mover guy?
So, I mean, that to me is a testament of what you were willing to do. I mean, and I know we've heard it throughout your entire story, but I mean, you literally, you moved away to go to a place to do it legally.
Yeah, it really is like doing it when it was here legally and how it helped, and I couldn't afford it because the prices when it was illegal, and the stress of going to the person's house and getting it and freaking out the whole ride home and all that. So when it did come legal, yes, I took the first opportunity to get rid of all that negative, all that bad, and have something there that actually helped.
Well, because
it really did suck because my son lived here in Oklahoma City, and I had to leave and go up there where I didn't get seen as much just to be able to physically help. And that's why as soon as it was legal here, I ran straight back.
Well, I mean, because really, I mean, if you step back and look at it, you're taking a war veteran who was bombed with PTSD and adding stress, paranoia, and anxiety just so he can get his medicine.
And also making him feel like a criminal.
That's what I mean.
A hero to us, making him feel like a criminal.
Head high, but you're surrounded in a horrible area with bad people. It does make you feel bad.
Well, that's what I mean. So, I mean, again, to me, you woke up, after the IED, you woke up in a tiny white room, and honestly, you wanted to crawl into that dark hole. And in my opinion, the people that you were over there serving didn't return the favor when you wanted to crawl out of the dark hole.
Yep.
No, they did not in any way. No, it was pills down my throat 24/7 or lock myself in a mental institution, and that's neither of what I needed. It ended up causing me, between the meds and the way I was treated, I ended up losing my first wife 9 years, and it was because I got back. 1 week they'd have me on pills that made me act this way, and they'd be like, oh, no, I think we need to try these, and they'd throw me on another pill, and they would have a whole different effect. I'd act like a whole different person, and I went through that for probably 6 to 9 months when I first got back. New meds every day, different personality every week, and it was not easy for me, especially mentally. If cannabis would have been around then, I guarantee it would have not have been near as much of a crazy ride for me. And I've got other veteran buddies that they came back, tried the meds, went crazy just like I did, tried cannabis, and went back to being normal.
Right. So, I mean, and technically, and I'm not making a joke when I say this, you can add divorce to the side effects of the medicines that you were on.
That's not a joke. The medications, you can ask my ex who you ever ran into. When I first got back, I did have a hard time, but the medications made it all harder because, they give you ones and it messes with these receptors in your brain. Then they're like, oh, well, this isn't how your personality is supposed to be, so we're going to change them. And they change your pills, and now they start doing different things to the receptors, and it really changes the way you speak, the way you think, your habits, and every time you change your meds, I mean, you're just going through it all.
I was on this one medicine one time. Whenever I drove, I felt like the road was moving. I wasn't.
Right. Treadmill, like a treadmill.
Yeah. Right.
But it was normal. It was supposed to be normal.
Well, I mean, to me, like Dennis, his entire journey, like I hear all of the negative things that I grew up hearing about cannabis. Your family will leave you. You won't want to be around people and all this stuff. Yeah. And none of that in your life came from cannabis. Not one of them. But they did come from something that a guy in a white coat was handing you.
Exactly. Cannabis has got me. I've got a beautiful, amazing woman now. She's pregnant. My son's in my life again.
Congratulations.
It's all finally come back together after getting rid of all the other stuff.
How old's your son?
My oldest is 14, and I've got one that is 6 months until it's here.
That's great.
3 months pregnant, 4 months.
Good for you.
Wow, congratulations, man. That makes me absolutely happy.
There's your miracle. That's what you were here for.
Right.
When you said, has there been a miracle yet? I was thinking there's been 2.
Yeah.
Man, that warms my heart. Yeah, that's
awesome.
Man. We found it for sure.
That's cool. That's very cool. I'm so happy that you're able to, find something that lets you live like a person, like a person should, like you should, like you want to, authentically, like you.
Right.
Is there something? Do you have there's so many people out there that suffer from PTSD but specifically maybe a war vet that is struggling right now. Is there anything that you maybe might want to pass along a message?
Yeah, related to cannabis is it's worth the struggle of getting off everything that you've been on. It's worth the time it's going to take to put in, because it will take time to get away from them meds and onto cannabis. And if you can, it's worth it. All the side effects are gone. My family, my friends, all have commented on it. Your life will just get better. Put in the hard work. I mean, it's not that hard as cannabis, but put in the dedication, and it'll all pay off in the long run. I guarantee it.
Well,
well said.
Yeah, when we appreciate Dennis, and something I said earlier that that was and James touched on, that was your miracle, having the baby. But I don't want to leave here today and not say something to your family that they have a miracle in you.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's for sure.
I mean, they're very lucky to have you in their lives, because we need people like you in the cannabis community, but kids need parents like you, and wives need husbands like you.
Our world needs people like you.
Fighters, man, and your story is very inspiring to us here.
You're a can-do person, and it makes other people want to do good things, and just hearing your voice makes it motivates me. Like Josh says, it's very inspirational.
We kind of always, James and I kind of always operate under the fact that we've got a fire lit under our ass. When we wake up every day, that that flame goes up and down. But I want to thank you for pouring gas on it today, for sure.
Absolutely.
That is not a problem. I hope my story helps out, and I hope it helps you guys there too.
Yeah, I think it will. And I want to talk about your future. I mean, what do you got? What do you got? What do you have going on? Are you taking it easy right now and just enjoying your life?
At the moment, actually, I just moved. I don't know a soul here. I've been trying to find something to do, but it's kind of hard. I don't know anybody. I don't know any veterans. I've tried going around and getting some trimming jobs. I'm actually just sitting here wasting away as a retired vet each day.
Yeah. And you live in Shawnee, Oklahoma, don't you?
Yeah, I live in Shawnee.
I hate to give out your town, but I live there too.
Yeah, we both do.
We may have to.
Yeah, I think
you guys got my contact number, and I'm totally willing to help out with the cause.
Okay, man, that's great.
Yeah,
I was going to say, I think we can definitely help keep you busy from time to time, for sure, man.
That's for sure. All right, guys.
There won't be no complaints from my side.
Yeah.
Well, Dennis, thank you again, man. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your story. I really want to say that, and I mean that wholeheartedly. Thank you for your advocacy, and congratulations on the little one. All the best to your family and all those vets out there. Thank you guys for doing what you do. Please reach out to us if there's ever anything that you guys need someone to talk to. Reach out to the show. We're always here. We love you guys, James, as always. It's a blast being on the show with you. Love you, bud.
Yeah, you too, man. And message us on Instagram. You can direct messages or Facebook.
Reach out, please.
Reach out to us. There are so many stories out there. We know, but we want to get people heard. So just let us know. And also, hey, we take critiques. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I've got tough skin. You can say whatever you want about me, and definitely James. Go crazy.
But I do want to let you guys know, there is something very, very, very simple that you can do to support the show. You can share on social media. That's real easy.
Right.
You can give us a review. You can go on our Facebook page, leave us a review. You can, pretty soon we've got a website, nice website coming, where you can leave us a review. Just if you just do that for us, it costs you nothing.
Sure.
And then, subscribe. After you listen, if you like us, hit subscribe.
Yeah.
We're on iTunes, Spotify, we're YouTube, so people can stream us in their store. Some of us are, some dispensaries are streaming us now, which is great.
Yeah. Share it to people in need. I mean, if you know someone that needs to hear it, or if you need to hear it, I mean, by all means, get it to them. And that's why we've got those platforms. We want to make it available for everybody out there.
Right. Dennis, thank you so much for coming on the show, man.
Thank you, Dennis, and thanks for your service again, man.
All right, this podcast is for information purposes only and should not be considered medical advice. We will see you next time on the show. Josh?
I want to say happy anniversary to my beautiful wife. 4 of the best years of my life. Thanks, babe. I love you.
And congrats.
Thanks, man.